Hello and welcome to my IPDA conference talk. I've just started my PhD and so this talk today will be just discussing some of the thoughts I've got about my research study that I'll be completing over the next 3 years. So the overview for this talk is that I'll give you a brief introduction to myself and what I'm interested in, some of the literature which relates to my study, and then the ideas I've got for my study, and then just a few things which, if the audience would like, opportunities for the audience to engage, and which would help my thinking moving forward. So, first and foremost, I'm a science teacher at a secondary school in Doncaster called XP School. Now, XP School has a really innovative curriculum, and their curriculum there is interdisciplinary and it's project-based, and it has project-based learning. So as a science teacher there, I need to integrate what I'm teaching with science into history, English, art and design, to develop these curriculum. I'm a first year PhD student, so I started in October, and I'm very grateful to the Edge Foundation for funding this. The area of research that I'm looking into is kind of the interplay between curriculum development and teacher professional learning. And specifically, I'll be looking at curriculum making in active science. So I guess the reason I've become interested in this issue comes down to my time as a teacher at XP making the curriculum. So one of XP's design principles is that teachers are learners. And part of this is that teachers design the curriculum that they're going to deliver to students. And teachers need to design rich, authentic, and relevant real-world learning kind of experiences for students. So as a science teacher, my job is first to look at the standards and then try and integrate what I need to teach in science, integrate that with other subjects to develop this project. And at XP, we call these curriculum projects expeditions. So what you can see here is the anatomy of a learning expedition, and that we start with this immersion to get students hooked. We then give students an overall guiding question that encompasses this kind of 8 to 10 week expedition. Students then dig deep into this guiding question through case studies. Students go on field work and engage with experts to ensure they get that real world learning. And then students are asked to create a product, and this product should be an authentic product that connects to the world, and they exhibit this so that it's made public. So what's really interesting about our school is that teachers are curriculum makers, and we learn by making the curriculum. So we sit around together, we think about the standards, we think about how different subjects can connect together and be made relevant for students. So as a curriculum maker at XP, whilst it's incredibly creative and fantastic opportunity that empowers teachers, it can also be really challenging. So my professional learning to overcome these challenges, thinking about the challenges that I face when I design curriculum, it's had a massive impact on my learning as an educator. So I'm really interested in this issue because of my experience as teaching. And my thoughts that planning and enacting an effective curriculum should happen following careful consideration of the knowledge needed by teachers. So it became aware to me whilst making curriculum that the teachers need or use a specialised knowledge when they engage in curriculum development. And so my questions are around what is the knowledge that teachers use when they make curriculum. On a larger scope, there's been a general trend towards more teacher autonomy and agency over the curriculum. So thinking about how do teachers do this and what knowledge do they use when they do this. And ultimately, I want to help teachers and schools develop authentic and relevant curricula and hopefully influence teacher training to think more about how they enable teachers to do this. So there's a lot in the literature about curriculum making, and some of that is only a small amount is here. So when I was making curriculum as a science teacher, thinking about my own standards and then integrating that into history, I found that really challenging. As a science teacher, I'm aware that students learn science in a particular way, that the way knowledge is sequenced in science is important. But without Bernstein's knowledge structures, I didn't really have a language for expressing that, or a lens to kind of learn the way that I'm making curricula in terms of knowledge structures through. So there's definitely some kind of specialized knowledge that teachers need when curriculum making. Similarly, epistemic progression is a concept used in curriculum development, which as a teacher making curriculum I didn't have. I think there's a chance that it might be quite useful for teachers which would help their learning. They may learn more from curriculum making by having access to this kind of knowledge. The curriculum design coherence model is a tool that can be used to help teachers learn how to develop curriculum and help teachers evaluate and design curriculum themselves. And similarly, Professor Mark Boylan's work at Sheffield Hallam University looked at models of professional learning and using models as tools for designing and evaluation of professional learning activities. We can consider engagement with curriculum design and development a professional learning activity. Another example of this kind of active curriculum that I'm thinking about is the work that Professor Arthur Eisencraft has done in America. So he developed active physics and active chemistry based on the 7E model. So XP is just one model of this kind of active science curriculum that I'm interested in, but there's lots of other models and there's lots of other ways teachers in other schools make curriculum and use knowledge. And so that's what I'm really interested in finding out. So the questions this raises for me is, what is an active science curriculum? And what's the relationship between an active curriculum and active pedagogy? What expertise do teachers use when they develop active science curriculum? How do teachers learn this expertise? So at XP, we learn through doing. So we learn by getting involved in the curriculum making process, discussing ideas with different teachers, and then being involved in an important review process. So thinking about how effective the curriculum was, what do we learn from it, and iterating it. So at XP, teachers learn this expertise through iterative practice. But how do they do it elsewhere? How do teachers move beyond curriculum theory to informed curriculum making? So how do teachers take the theory into practice? And also, what implications does all this have for teachers, schools, teacher training, and policymakers for developing, for helping teachers and schools in curriculum making? So far, my ideas for my methodology are that I'd like an element of it to be practice focused, so that perhaps I'll be developing teacher professional learning materials, which will enable teachers to engage in curriculum development in active science. Alongside an ethnographic study into how teachers' practice of curriculum development changes. So by doing this, hopefully I'll be able to find out what expertise teachers use when they engage effectively in curriculum making, and how teachers learn curriculum making expertise. And hopefully by learning this, I may be able to then use this research to support teachers in curriculum making and active science, perhaps contribute some of these ideas towards a model for professional learning and curriculum development, and it may have wider, more generalizable impact in curriculum making in other areas such as policy or teacher professional learning or teacher training. So at the moment, I'm reading a lot around the subjects of models of teacher professional learning and curriculum development, and trying to develop my ideas for my methodology. So I'd be really, really interested and grateful if anybody from the audience would like to engage further in any of the ideas I've shared today, and to try and kind of push this thinking further on. That would be fantastic. So some of the questions that I pose are: how do teachers currently engage in curriculum development, and how do they learn the knowledge needed for this? So I know how teachers at XP currently engage in curriculum development, and the way we learn that is through this kind of iterative review process. But how do teachers do that elsewhere? And what methodology would enable me to find out the kind of things that I want to find out? So my methodology in the moment being around a practice focus and an ethnographic approach. How could I use those methodologies to help get at what I want to get at? And finally, I just want to say thank you very much for listening. And if you'd like to get in contact to discuss any of this further, my email's at the bottom. Thank you very much.